So, hello and welcome to Monday Night Racing in iRacing. Sorry for that stream. We're just in the middle of qualifying. So, it's currently Keith Dempsey leading from Brian McManus and Peter Dempsey. We're lucky enough to have young Jack, who's joining us tonight for his inaugural race as commentary. Of course, Leo's not available tonight, and if you're out there, Leo, we're thinking about you and your family tonight. But we've got young Jack, who's here tonight, eager to get going. So without further ado, I'm going to hand you over to Jack, and I'm going to try and jump into my sim and get into this race.
Good evening, everyone. You're very welcome to the VRA GTE at Daytona. Apologies for the slight delay. Poor Niall's been mired with technical difficulties today, but we've finally got going. So we're ready to go here. We're in the middle of qualifying. As I say, Keith Dempsey ahead of Niall Quinn, very close to top 500ths of a second. And I'm still got to get used to iRacing control, so you'll have to bear with me on that one too. So, of course, as I said, we are here at Daytona. The road circuit is what we are at today. Now, of course, we are using the road circuit, the infield track. We used turns 2, 3, and 4 of the speedway, with the infield section coming before turn number 1. Only 2 named corners on this one. We have, of course, the bus stop on the back straight, and we have the international horseshoe in the middle, which is turn number 3. So we're currently looking at Brian McManus off the outlap in the BMW M8 GTE. GT is here, and we're having the 4 GTs, the M8 RSR, and the 488 today. So we have 15 minutes of qualifying, and then we have a 45-minute race. Hope you're sitting comfortably at home. So let's see if we can grab anybody on a lap right now. And that Walsh here coming through the international horseshoe. I had a go on this earlier in virtual reality. Felt a bit sick after. But, they're definitely lapping quicker than I was earlier. So here towards the second hairpin, which is turn number 5, is lock up, as he does indeed. So prime example of what I was talking about there, the lock up inside the tyre, very easy to do. Before we head towards the speedway section, into the left-hand hairpin, and then it's a bit of a relaxing drive then. You're using the Daytona Speedway here, so all tight to the apron, and Walsh decides to pull off there. So he's ruined my hot lap commentary there. So let me just cycle through some cameras. We're still getting used to everything here. So see if we can grab anybody here. See if we can grab anybody. As far as I can see, there's no track. 1 minute to grid. Yeah, thanks. We're 1 minute to grid. So Niall's not managed to get a qualifying lap in, unfortunately. So we'll look forward to a charge to the field. So Dempsey on pole. Quinn second, McManus third, then second Dempsey fourth, Clark in fifth, Yamamoto sixth, Glavin seventh, Walsh in eighth, Stepachivas ninth, and Gedvilas in 10th. That's your top 10. Looking forward to this one. And then we have outside the top 10, Dowling, Masterson, Haderman, O'Neill, and Healy. Everything's nice and close together. Dempsey and Quinn very evenly matched there. 500ths of a second between them. McManus about 7/10 behind Quinn there. But virtually nothing separating the field, which is what we always like to see. Yeah. So, settle in. We'll be good in for a nice race. 5-6 mile circuit, 12 corner Daytona circuit. And an interesting fact here, if we talk about the tri-oval, the fastest lap at the highest average was 210 miles an hour set in 1987 in unbelievably fragile stock cars. I don't know how they managed to do 210 in those things. But rolling start. Dempsey, as we said, on pole, Quinn alongside him, and McManus, and the second Dempsey, followed by Clark and Yamamoto, Graben and Walt, Stepachivas 9th, and Gedvilas in 10th. So we'll get rolling very indeed. So 1 minute and a half to go. So it should give you enough time to run and grab a cup of tea or something and get yourself settled. And allowed me to get used to some more iRacing racing, and the cameras particularly. So settle in, and get ready for one hell of a race, I hope. So just about a minute to go now until we get rolling here at Daytona. And it should be good fun. So almost ready to go here. Engines are started. Pace car is out front. And looking good to go very shortly indeed. Yeah, and all good to go. Yeah. So all looking fine and dandy. Yeah. Didn't think we'd actually get going today, but we finally did. So hopefully the racing will make up for the absolute mithering we got today. So Dempsey and Quinn alongside each other on the front row. BMW M8 and the Ferrari 8 GTE. So the BMW actually with the most horsepower on the grid. 598 brake horsepower versus the 490 in the Ferrari. So the BMW's got some grunt behind it. But, interesting. So here we are, ready to roll. Rolling off the grid for the rolling start at Daytona. So, as I said, we're running to the grid one more time for you. Dempsey and Quinn on the front row. McManus and the other Dempsey in P4. Clark and Yamamoto, Graven and Walsh, Depachi, Vass and Gedvilas. That's your top 10. Now, outside top 10, Dowling and Moore, Masters and Hademan, O'Neill and Healy, Maher and Sheehan, and all the way down the back. So, we'll get an idea of the circuit now. This is the International Horseshoe, the only kind of named corner. The rest are just 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's very easy to lock up here, go wide. You can get away with it. It's quite a wide part of the track. You come up to this flat out left before you get on the brakes for the next hairpin. And then we head to the speedway section, as you can see, which is always great fun. Should make for a bit of side by side. A bit of side drafting, a bit of drafting. And of course everything's split up by the bus stop chicane about 3/4 of the way down that back straight. Pace car controlling the pace. Ready to go very shortly. Hope you're all enjoying at home. We're settling in. Head towards the speedway section now. Everybody making sure they got the tyre temps. Getting themselves focused. In the zone. So they launch down towards turn 1, which is very narrow, so they've got to sort themselves out very quickly indeed, because it's a very narrow part of the track. You should see most of the overtaking they've done there actually, or on the speedway section on the brakes. Settling in, almost ready to go. We're on the back stretch now. It seems like an age, this formation lap. So Dempsey and Quinn. Dempsey's already got to be thinking of shutting the door on Quinn into turn 1. It's be almost ready to go very shortly. Dempsey, of course, in the BMW. Quinn in the Ferrari. McManus behind. And then Dempsey in the other BMWs. Coming through the bus stop chicane now. You might be familiar with that name. The other bus stop chicane is, of course, Spa-Francorchamps at the last corner. Although it's not the original bus stop, they changed it in the early 2000s, I believe. So, rounding turn, what would be turn 4 of the tri-oval, but it's turn 12 in here. And we're going to be set to go. The pace car will peel in, and we will be ready to go very shortly. Yeah, I'm watching you. So, almost ready to go. Getting themselves all sorted out. 2x2 start into turn 1, so perhaps expect a little bit of wheel banging, but let's hope not. Pace car will peel in very shortly and we'll get underway for the VRA at Daytona. Okay, playing on your left hand side as we look. Pace car is in and get ready to go here. Dempsey controls the pace, red light on. away we go in VRA. Dempsey leads turn 1, Quinn behind, all single file with the top 4. A little bit side-by-side action in the background there, but Dempsey leads, Quinn second, McManus third, Clark and Yamamoto with Graben sixth, Walsh, fast getting this and Downing, so everybody seems to be through there nice and cleanly. Having a look down the field then, no, everybody seems to be through nice and clean there. So, no major incidents. Dempsey and Quinn away out front. And now Quinn starting to line up, potentially a move up for Dempsey into this next hairpin. Gets late on the brakes, gets right up behind them there. And McManus following behind Clark as well, and the field of Ferrari's following. It's all line stern. Then into turn 5. And onto the speedway section, so Quinn will get a nice toe towards the full stop chicane then. A little bit of a break is starting to form as Quinn gets the draft off Dempsey as they run down towards the bus stop chicane. I'm thinking about a little move here. Dempsey holding the inside line. Quinn getting right up on his chuff here as they come down towards the bus stop chicane. He moves onto the outside line. It's going to be tough to do it around the outside of the bus stop chicane. He is going to have a little think about it, but can't quite get it on the brakes. McManus has a little think about a move. Looks like there's a crash in the background. Like Clark's around at the bus stop. And unfortunately, I think he just tapped the back of somebody there. Let's have a look as we just go back and see if we can get a view of that. It's quite hard to see. Just see him rejoining at the bus stop chicane there. It's an unfortunate instant for him. And he drops all the way down to 15th place. Back up to the front then. It is Dempsey and Quinn together towards turn 1. McManus is there too, having a little think about it around the outside there. Dempsey holds it. Quinn and McManus now, they've formed a gap to Stipachivas could come up to 4th place. That's a great start from him, already up to 4th place after just 2 laps here. But the top 3 absolutely welded together here as Quinn has a little look up the inside. They're not quite able to make any sort of move here. But there's a clear breakaway after that incident in the background there. The guys making it through there. Oh, everybody nice and close. Quinn is absolutely hounding the back of this BMW. But this Ferrari is in a BMW sandwich at the moment. Any sort of mistakes, McManus will pick up the pieces. We'll have a quick look as we run down towards the bus stop chicane for the second time. Of course, the BMW has got the grunt over the Ferrari. Well, let's see if Quinn can see if he can find a way past here. Drafting towards the bus stop chicane then, already right up behind him. He's going to have a look on the outside line because Dempsey's got that covered on the inside. McManus drafting behind too. Dempsey covers him off there as they come towards the bus stop chicane for the second time today. So they're all nice and spread out then. So let's have a look behind as the battle between the two forces. Stipachivas and Graben have made some good ground after those first 2 laps as well. First down, Hayden and Masterson. And then this massive train of cars from Maher, Healy, O'Neill, Walsh, Clark and Yamamoto all together. Look at this train headed up by the Ferrari of Maher, and Healy's are looking for a way past in the 4GT here. Already looking on the outside lines, looking at the intervals up front as well, things nice and close. 4GT having a look on the outside towards turn 1, drafting alongside 530 horsepower in the back of the 4GT versus 490 on the outside line towards turn 1. Getting on brakes, they're 3 abreast in the background. They have to sort themselves out before they get there. Maher holds on for now up the inside with one of the Porsches. They're side by side in the background. That's Healy and O'Neill, I think, side by side. It's actually O'Neill and Walsh behind, actually. Excuse me. So a little bit of action going on here. Just having a look a little bit side by side between. Oh, there's a crash in the background. The car's off there. It looked like it was O'Neill. Involved, Clark as well. A little bit of banging and bashing. Healy's involved too. That's unfortunate for him, but back up to the front as well. We've got plenty of battles going on trying to keep up with everything here. Dempsey and Quinn and McManus fighting it out up here. So, towards the bus stop for the 3rd time today. Quinn getting a really nice draft towards the bus stop chicane now. Sure, they're going to have to think about a move this time, but the BMW, as you can see, has just got the grunt to keep itself ahead for another time of asking through the bus stop. And McManus following behind too, so fantastic little battle going on here. Any mistakes from any of these guys and it could lead to absolute disaster. But we'll keep an eye on everything behind. Stipachivas and Graben together, Dowling. And then Moore, Haderman and Masterson all together. But we'll go back to this huge train of cars from Maher downwards from the top 10. So it looks like there's a move between 4th and 5th here. Just keep an eye. Graben and Savakivas. Graben's on the inside as they run towards turn 1. He's on the outside line. It's going to be hard to do it there. He'll have to switch back to the inside if he wants any sort of chance here. On the outside line, onto the brakes at the turn 1. And Graben, I think, trying to let him through there, but Graben Savakivas around the outside. A lovely move at the turn 1 there. Nicely done from him. And slickly done too. And he moves into 4th place and just up front as well. Let's cycle back to that battle as it looks like McManus is having to think about a move on Quinn here. As they run to the International Horseshoe for the 3rd time today. Not able to get it, but looking very threatening there. So it's been a very interesting race already. Very enjoyable to watch so far. I hope you're enjoying it at home. Dempsey, Quinn and McManus is your top 3 battlers. Savakivas, Graben and Dowling all battling here in the midfield. And Haderman, Moore and Masterson. Yeah, it looks like there's a problem for one of the Ferraris there. It looked like it was probably Moore, I think that was. Now it's Moore trying to move on Haderman. They're side by side through the banks section here. Moore is up the inside. He's already ahead. So that should be able to hold on to that one. And should be able to do so. He's already ahead, defending the inside towards the bus stop chicane. Haderman will have a look on the outside of the brakes. Well, it's really tough to do it here. He's going to have a go anywhere. Side by side to the bus stop. They work it out. And it looks like there may have been a problem for McManus up front. He seems to be dropping back quite significantly. He seems to have had a problem, but we'll keep up side by side up front. Quinn looking for the lead of the Daytona race here. But is still unable to find a way past that massive BMW M8. Holds the middle of the track as they run towards turn and gets a little bit sideways, locks up the inside left. They're still together. And also Savakivas and Graben battling it out in 4th and 5th place there. But we'll keep an eye on this lead battle because that is the battle we want to keep an eye on because they are absolutely magnetised, these 2 cars here. Brilliant stuff to watch so far. Also, we'll keep an eye on this Savakivas Graben battle because they're having a real here for 5th. That's Savakivas up the inside of Graben and should be able to get that done and does do so, but we'll have to watch on the back straight in case he does make another move past him. Just keep an eye down the field as well. Moore is kind of in the kind of middle of nowhere. Haderman behind him, Masterson, Yamamoto, Walsh, Gedvilas, Maher, O'Neill and Healy, who has dropped a ways back unfortunately, and Clark is in the pits, unfortunately looks to be out of this race. Back to the front once again, Dempsey and Quinn together once again towards the bus stop. Quinn is having a look towards the bus stop, but again the power of that BMW just manages to keep him ahead just for now. But again Savakivas and Graben together towards the bus stop chicane. Graben has managed to make a move up the inside of Savakivas, but he's going to have a look on the outside of the bus stop. Not able to do it there, but he might have a go into turn 1 as he has seemed to have done for the past couple of laps. So you can just see the gap up front closing. So we will go to that battle. Dempsey and Quinn towards turn 1 once again. Nobody making any moves just yet. Nobody doing anything drastic. Quinn's on the outside towards 1. And again, Dempsey just defending nicely, placing that car beautifully. But let's move back to Graben and Savakivas momentarily. No moves made there. Graben holds on for now. So plenty of action to keep your passion satisfied. Gedvilas and Walsh towards turn 1. Gedvilas having a look on the outside of Walsh. Has a look on the inside. Walsh makes a mistake and he goes right into turn 1. And he's going to lose that position immediately. And that's the top 10 for Gedvilas now. So back to the front. Dempsey and Quinn still inseparable at this time. So running towards the bus stop. Another time of asking. So an interesting battle to watch. Of course, Quinn not able to make, manages to get himself close. But that BMW just has over 100 horsepower more than that Ferrari, so he's going to be able to just keep ahead. He's having a real go at the outside this time, but again, Dempsey closes that off. Into the bus stop they go once again. You just see the marks of a previous incident right there in front of you. So, Up towards turn 12 once again. The BMW looking like he's getting a nice exit out of there. Should be able to hold on for another lap, potentially. Quinn's got to start thinking about moves now. He's getting a nice draft this time towards turn 1. Dempsey's going to do what he has done for the past while and hold that inside line. Quinn is going to move to the outside line. But again, out of that draft, he just doesn't have the power in the back of that Ferrari to make a move. Moves to the outside, will now try a cutback, but Dempsey manages to cover that. So they hold station once again into the international horseshoe. And Quinn has a think about a move. To no avail as of yet. You can see it's getting quite dark around the circuit. We should be heading into night time, of course, very tricky. Just having a look down here, looks like Masterson and Yamamoto have swapped positions. They're having a little scrap here. Yamamoto behind Masterson, and Gedvelas is also there. And the last time we saw Gedvelas, he was in 10th, so he's lost that position. But there is a big old scrap here for P9. And that's Yamamoto past Masterson. He's on the outside line. Two BMWs going side by side here. Yamamoto on the outside into the left-hand kink. And also look out for the Gedvelas up the inside. Caught him off guard there. Very nicely done from him. Opportunistic driving. Oh, there's contact in the background between Walsh and Masterson. That was unfortunate there. I think somebody tried to move there and just got caught up. Well, let's go back to the front once again. Dempsey and Quinn still inseparable through the bus stop. He's got to think about a move very shortly indeed. But of course, this is a 45-minute race. There's plenty of time to think about any moves. And we'll keep an eye on the battle for P9, which is Gedvelas and Yamamoto. He's trying to get it up the inside of the bus stop. He's going to try it on the brakes. He does try it on the brakes, goes late on the brakes. And nicely done from Gedvelas, moves him into P9 then. Super brave on the brakes into the bus stop. Very hard to try it there. McManus, he's kind of in the middle of nowhere at the moment. But actually, let's just cycle back to Yamamoto and Gedvelas, because they are side by side once again through turn 12. So that is Yamamoto on the outside as they run towards the first corner then. Side by side. Gedvelas will have the inside line. Almost a little bit of contact there. Wash of air sent that BMW squirming around. Gedvelas holds the middle of the track. Yamamoto will now try and get the cut back through turn 1 as they run turn 2. Then they're side by side once again. But Gedvelas holds on for now as they run towards the international horseshoe for, I believe, the 5th time of asking. Could be the 6th time. Let's run back to P1 then for a moment. Dempsey and Quinn together once again towards the bus stop chicane. 2 tenths separate them. Quinn will get a nice draft towards the bus stop chicane, but again, there's more grunt in that BMW than there is in that Ferrari. He's really hold time. Moves to the outside, but again, I don't think he's going to have it this time. He's more alongside than he has been last time. Dempsey later on the brakes and holds on once again. And let's go back to 4th and 5th again, because they're still side by side for 4th. Stabakivas on the outside, grabbing on the inside. Stabakivas going to do the same thing again around the outside of the bus stop, goes straight on, misses his braking, and he's going to lose a chunk of time. But let's go to the front, because they're side by side up front between Dempsey and Quinn. Quinn is right up behind that BMW. He's closer than he has been in the past couple of laps. He's on the outside towards, but again the BMW has more grunt in a straight line. Holds on for now. Quinn's going to have to try it on the brakes somewhere. Towards turn 1 then. Dempsey holding the middle of the road. Quinn will try and get the cutback line here. Look to get underneath him, but Dempsey defends that very, very nicely indeed. Let's go back to Stabakivas and Dowling, because Stabakivas has lost a ton of time after that mistake in the bus stop chicane. Dowling will have a think about a move here. He's looking on the outside line, trying to again get the cutback line, but Stabakivas will hold in the middle of the road. Hold on for now. So moving back further, more and Haderman has a little scrap here. Gedvelas and Yamamoto still together. And looks like there's a move here. Maher and Masterson having a look. Maher's going to have a look, I think. No, he's trying to defend from Masterson here. Masterson having a look up the inside of the turn 1. They're now neck and neck as the turn 2. Very nice between the two of them. Masterson on the outside. Maher's going to fight that one too hard and lets him through. Back to front again. Dempsey and Quinn. Magnetised. So Quinn is going to have to look to the outside again. Dempsey's doing the same thing lap after lap. He's holding the inside line. but Quinn is more alongside than he has been, but Dempsey shuts the door in his face, and he's going to have to hold behind for another lap. Cannot get it close enough to that BMW to have any sort of effect. Maher and Masterson still together in P12 and 13. Gevelas and Yamamoto have a battle here in 8th and 9th. That is Yamamoto on the outside towards the bus stop chicane. It's going to be late on the brakes, is he? No, Gevelas later on the brakes. And we'll manage to hold on to P9. We're running back to the front. Dempsey and Quinn still neck and neck here. McManus 5 seconds behind and grabbing in P4. Stefaki Vas P5. Dowling right behind him in P6. Moore and Haderman looking to be side by side here towards turn 1. That looks like Haderman on the inside line, I'd reckon. I believe it is, and Moore around the outside. Nice side by side battle between the two Ferraris. Moore all the way around the outside. Brave stuff from there. But Haderman just a touch ahead and manages to hold on for now. Nice little bit of racing there. So let's go back once again to the front. We have to, of course, keep an eye on this lead battle because we've been going on for a little while now, and these guys have not moved positions. And they are virtually identical in their lap times. They're matching each other lap on lap. Fantastic to watch. So can Quinn do anything this time? Dempsey will do it. The same thing he's done. He'll hold the inside line. Quinn looking to the outside line. Dempsey once again holds on. Let's see. We can get a little onboard view of Quinn and what he's seeing. And you can just see the degree of the banking here at Daytona. It is quite something. Now you'll see the draft he'll get off of Dempsey ahead. As they run towards turn 1, you can see how close he's getting. Very close to the back of that BMW, but again, we don't think he's close to this time. Dempsey will hold that inside line. Hold the middle of the road. Quinn will look to the outside line and look for the cutback line. Dempsey wise to that. We'll hold on for now. Let's get to our favoured broadcast cam here. Quinn looking to the outside line. Dempsey holding on very nicely indeed. Doing well to hold on as long as he has. He's led every single lap this race so far. And he continues to lead. Has a little think about the brakes. Having to go on the brakes, should I say. Unable to do it there. Very brave if we did manage to pull that one off. Let's just go back to the battle for 12th, which is between BMW of Marston and the Ferrari of Maher here. Time to have a look here, right up on the bumper as they run towards the International Horseshoe once again. He might think about the inside of the International Horseshoe if it gets close enough. Don't think it'll be close enough this time though. Looks like Healy is out of this race. Well, we thought he was, but he's running around the back. Let's get to our favoured broadcast camera. We're still getting used to these. Apologies for the flickering. I will eventually get my head around them. First time commentating IRacing, so a new venture for me. Looks like Dempsey has managed to get a little gap over Quinn. Quinn seems to have dropped back a little bit. Perhaps maybe struggling with engine temperature or something, running that close to the back of that BMW. Because it can get very hot in these cars. Let's run back to P7. Haderman and Moore together in the two Ferraris. Running virtually the same car. The only thing that'd be different would probably be the setup. But they're virtually together at this time. So, no movement as of yet front. But that is at the moment one of the closest battles we have on the track. And I say that Haderman and Moore are actually going for it into turn 1. So Moore is behind, Haderman is ahead into turn 1. Coming up towards the International Horseshoe once again. Getting a nice view of that wonderful VRA liveried Ferrari 488 GTE. They run together. It can get very hot in these cars. As I said, if you run behind the car for a lengthy period of time, of course, the dirty air that's coming off the car is not going to cool the car as effectively as it would be running in clean air. And of course, it is faster to run in the slipstream, but it's not exactly good for the car. Now, back to the lead. Dempsey and Quinn. You can just see Quinn seems to be losing time in the bus stop chicane, riding on board with Dempsey now, looking back at Quinn. See a view of those lights flaring in the background. Let's see if we can cycle through once again to our broadcast camera. Apologies once again. Quinn has a look to the outside again, but he won't be able to do it there. Hasn't been able to do it all race. So into turn one, if there was a little lock up from Dempsey, I think it was. Everything else behind us spread out. So I hope you're all enjoying at home. Hope you're sitting comfortably and keeping an eye on this lead battle. Quinn and Dempsey. Quinn has been unable to get past for this entire race so far, but again, these guys have been inseparable for the entire race. Always balanced out. The Ferrari quicker in the corners, the BMW has the grunt on the straights. They balance themselves out. Onto the speedway section for another time of asking. Quinn will get the slipstream, but as soon as he pulls out of that slipstream, he won't have the power, and that BMW will just hold on unless he can think of something audacious to get past Dempsey here. He's going to have to try something. Dempsey holds the inside once again. Quinn is most certainly not close enough to try anything here. Dempsey will shut the door in his face. They run to the bus stop once again. You can see Dempsey gaining time through that bus stop. Quinn did not lose as much time as he has previously, as I've been watching. But he's... yeah. So I think we're going to be heading into the period of tyre wear starting to play a factor. Drivers might start dropping away from the pace, but Quinn is most certainly not dropping away from the back of that BMW up front. Dempsey doing an amazing defensive job here. Quinn, a little lock up on the inside left. They go through turn one once again. Got to think about doing something. Might not even see the move until the last lap. We don't know. But here he comes once again. Lights ablaze. Together. Now let's run back to Haderman and Moore, who are still having a scrap in the midfield here. Now they were side by side, but I don't think they're side by side now. No, it looks like they sorted themselves out. Now we are seeing pit stops here. Marston and Maher into the pit lane, and let's keep an eye. Dempsey and Quinn up front. Who's going to be the first to jump into the pit lane? So who's going to be the first to dive in? Who's struggling with tyres most? Who's struggling with temperatures most? Quinn very close to the back of Dempsey, looking on the outside of the bus stop. He's alongside him this time. The door once again. That's the closest he's been all race. And poor old Niles got a 15-second penalty on the way to the pit lane. So that unfortunate charge to the midfield is done. So Dempsey and Quinn, however, still together out front. Haderman and Moore in the midfield, still together. We'll come towards turn 12, towards the start finish once again. Leaders are not pitting as of yet. But Quinn very, very close to the back of that BMW again. But again, I don't think he's going to be able to try anything unless he does, unless it's a surprise. Onto the very outside line, almost a very wide line into the first corner there. But Dempsey holds on once again. Into the midfield we'll go to have a look at Haderman and Moore, who are having a real scrap in the middle here. As I say, that Haderman hits and stops that battle. So let's cycle back and get to our leaders. As everybody is pitting right now, it is the time for pits. McManus, Graben and Svekivasa all kind of in the middle of nowhere. 5 seconds back to the nearest car. Who's going to be the first to pit of the leaders? Very dark now, slowly darkening. And I'm sure one of them is going to peel in very, very shortly. So I would think anyway. Dempsey holding on through the bus stop. Equipment was nowhere near close enough that time. And still very close together, these two. Inseparable for this first half of the race. Nonetheless, very enjoyable to see the little back and forth they're having and how equally matched they are. Almost identical lap times, lap after lap after lap. Let's see as they come towards turn one, and in comes our race leader. Quinn carries on. Oh, Dempsey's made a mistake into the way into the pit lane. He's locked it all up, spun it on the way in. That's a disaster. He lost a chunk of time there, trying to avoid a penalty on the way in. And he's locked it all up, and he loses a chunk of time. That might give an advantage to Quinn out front if he can get the undercut, or the overcut to work, excuse me. So in comes Dempsey. His pit box right at the very end of the pit lane. We'll keep an eye on him and his progress. Out comes one of the Porsches. Everybody pretty much into the pit lane now, apart from Quinn out front. He's the only man not to have pitted. The order will get shuffled around now. These drivers are all in. Look at the amount of them in the pit lane. Everybody's got the same strategy. Out they come. Dempsey's still in his pit box. That puts McManus into P2. I don't think he's pitted yet. Graben has not pitted yet either. Stabakivas still yet to pit. So our top couple of guys are going to be different once these pit lane stops are all done. So let's rotate back. Leave. So try to find Quinn up front. We're looking at Brian McManus in P2. So we're rotating around as lapped cars are in the middle of all these. That's what's doing this. Yamamoto and Dempsey has come out in P6, just ahead of Yamamoto, 11 seconds behind Dowling. And in comes Quinn from the lead of the race. So it's going to be tight with himself and Dempsey on the way out. Have to keep an eye on Dempsey. Let's just see if we can rotate to him. There he is in P5. Yamamoto behind him. Too far. McManus now leads, grabbing Stabakivas and Dowling. Our technical race leader at the moment is Dempsey. Quinn is in the pits. You can just see him on the track map, top right of your screen, in the kind of greyed out NQ. Towards the bus stop comes Dempsey. There's long pit stops in these cars, almost double, even triple the time of a Formula 1 pit stop. Doesn't take 2 seconds to change the tyres on these, it takes nearly 10. And Quinn is on his way out, and you can see how much time that cost Dempsey, because he has dropped down the field now, and Quinn now leads this race on merit. McManus is looking at the inside of him though. As they go towards here, there's a car off the track there. And I believe, yeah, that was McManus indeed. You have to think about it, I think it was a lapped car that got in the way there. Mixing it all up there, one of the 4 GTs getting in the way there. But Dempsey has dropped all the way down to P6. The guys in the middle have all, I believe, yet to stop. So that should put Dempsey in P3, but that mistake on the way into the pits has cost him dearly. Rotate back. There is our race leader now, Niall Quinn out front. Brian McManus has managed to work his way back to P2. So Quinn now just got to get his head focused and start getting some laps in. So all going well for him so far. Through the bus stop he comes. McManus and Graben, Stabakivas, Dowling, Dempsey, Yamamoto, Walsh, Haderman and Moore are your top 10. Outside your top 10, O'Neill, Maher, Healy, Masterman, Gedras and Clark are out. Sheehan, Maher and Dempsey, well, ignore Maher, Sheehan and Dempsey are out of this race at the time. The field's all spread out after those pit stops. And we will go to the last half of this race then. It's all about concentration, hitting those apexes, especially as we go into low light conditions. It'll be harder to pick out those braking points. However, we have got some nice floodlights around Daytona here. See it in the background. The stadium lights, of course. NASCAR cannot race in the dark because they don't have lights, so the track needs to be fully lit up. Hence why we have these big, expensive lights up here. As I said earlier, Daytona, of course, always hosts the famous Daytona 500, the NASCAR race held once a year. And, of course, the IMSA series is also held here, the Daytona 24 Hours. Of course, the lap record was set this year, actually, by Oliver Jarvis. I think it was a 1:33.6, I think was the lap time. To put that in perspective, these guys are lapping at about 1:42. So, of course, that was set in an LMP2 car. So there's vast differences in them, but still 10 seconds is a long distance around the track of 3.56 miles. Look, there's a problem for Dowling in P6. So we're seeing him out on the graphic here. So I'm assuming there's been a problem for him. It has promoted Yamamoto to P6. And Wall should get through there. We have got a little bit of a battle going on here for P9 between Moore and Haderman. Once again, these two Ferraris, again, almost like the leaders were, virtually evenly matched all the way around this track. And they are, at this point, the closest battle we have got on track. Everybody else spread out by a long distance, at least 5 seconds. Moore and Haderman, absolutely identical. They've got nobody, they're about 7 seconds behind Walsh in front, and they're 34 seconds ahead of the P11. We have got a high retirement rate. But I think there's only 12 guys left running out on track. Unfortunate incident. That's a mistake from Haderman. Goes straight onto the bus stop, locks it all up. I think he's trying too hard there to catch up to Moore, but that gets rid of that battle, unfortunately. Unless Haderman can start putting in a lap, start catching up, I'll secure P9 from here. But it is Niall Quinn who leads ahead of Brian McManus, grabbing us to back class P3 and P4. Dowling, then Dempsey, who was leading this race, made a mistake on the pit entry, drops into P6. Yamamoto 7, Walsh in P8, Moore and Haderman P9 and 10. Then O'Neill and Maher are the last drivers running here today. So, from having drivers inseparable for the entire race, we now have huge gaps between everybody. It's the unfortunate reality of endurance racing. Usually in 24 hours, you can see gaps of up to 2 minutes between cars at the end. As you're running around for 24 hours, then gaps are going to build very, very quickly indeed. Let's see if we can get a little bit of an onboard with Moore here. You'll get an idea of what the circuit is like around. And it is it's a very technical, very quick circuit. So you see Moore here. This is where it joins the speedway. Gets on the brakes, down to second gear, rotate the car in. Then you're on the power onto the speedway section. You'll join it right here up on the bank, and you get an idea of the bank here. The camera doesn't move, but the car does. That's almost a 40-degree bank right there. And you can imagine NASCAR is doing speeds of over 210 miles an hour around here. IndyCar do come here as well. You'll see speeds of up to 230 miles an hour. Or on the way up here, 6th gear, into the bus stops. Can't get onto the brake. This breaks it all up, of course, like Paul Ricard. Down to 3rd gear, rotate the car in, on the power early, on the way out. And then you're into the last corner of turn 12. It'll be turn 4 for the tri-oval. Turn 2. We'll keep on board with him as he runs towards turn 1. You get an idea of how tricky that turn 1 is, because it's technically 2 corners in one, and it's very easy to go wide, spin the car. But he's reaching top speed now over the start finish right here. Then he'll get on the brakes. You'll see turn 1 right here. You can't even see it. Daylight, down to 2nd gear, get close to count of the tyre barriers, onto the power, through turn 2. This does count as turn 2, and into the international 2, which is turn 3 here. This first hairpin, I said earlier, very easy to go wide there, lock up, get it tight to the curves, onto the power, and then we head down towards where we joined the onboard with Moore. You'll head through this flat out left hand kink, spot the braking for turn 5. can't see that corner till you're on top of it. And that is the lap of the Daytona circuit, and you get an idea of how quick this circuit is indeed. So, nice lap from Ward now. It's very hard to keep focus at these things. They are keeping it nice and close. Dowling and Dempsey are together, so Dempsey's been putting in the laps to try and recover from his mistake. So you'll see him in the background in the BMW M8. And he has the grunt compared to the Ferrari. As we saw up front, Niall Quinn just could not get away past after pulling out of the draft. But Dowling holds on for now, but he's going to have Dempsey all over him very shortly. He's only 0.5 of a second behind him. So running up towards turn 3. That's a lock up from Dowling there. He's gone very, very wide. Dempsey's picked that one up, so thank you very much. I'll have that one. But they're side by side here, Dempsey and Dowling. Dowling's on the inside. Dempsey is through on the outside line. Now, let's see if he can catch up to Sebakivas, who's in P4. 7 seconds to make up is a long stop, is a big gap. But he has put in the laps. And he did catch up about 6 seconds to Dowling, but I think that was probably off the back of a mistake from Dowling. So Dempsey now goes on the charge to try and see if he can catch up. We'll keep an eye on the gap, of course. Sebakivas and Gravelin still quite close together in P3 and 4. Sebakivas looked like he is catching. And going between each other, 2.5, 2.2. Niall Quinn out front, increasing the gap out front, 5.4 now the gap from McManus. And Gravelin in P3. He's done well to get himself into P3, because he was actually battling with Sebakivas for quite a long period of this race. And it is now almost fully dark out. Dowling's not let go of the back of Dempsey just yet. Dempsey is closing the gap to Sebakivas. It's down to 6.8 seconds in the space of about a quarter of a lap. So, through turn 1 once again. And it's going to be very, very tricky to get this right, as I said, because it is very dark at this time. Again, the floodlights will help, but they won't totally do the work for you. So, don't think there's too long left to go in this race. But it is looking like a Niall Quinn victory. Robert McManus P2 and Gravelin P3. So that's a lock up from Dempsey. Gets away with it though. It is very, very easy to get that wrong. And just locked in the inside wheel and comes unloaded as he's trying to get it in. It's very easy to go straight on through that. Gap now up front is 6 seconds, but slightly coming down a little bit. It's actually coming down quite fast. McManus has called about half a second in that short space of time. And I believe that's down to the lap traffic that Niall Quinn has just made his way past. And I believe it's one of the BMWs. Behind it is indeed. That's why he lost a chunk of time. Another skill that you've got to learn is making your way through lapped traffic. And it's very easy to lose your focus as you try and get past, and one of the BMWs goes wide there. I believe that's actually the battle between O'Neill and Maher running around the very back here. Now we will keep an eye on them actually, because that is the only scrap we've got on track right now. Let's keep an eye on them. P11 and 12, the only cars left running at this point. At the back. So the BMW of O'Neill and Ferrari of Maher here. So we might get a scrap after all. 7/10 between them. Now, as I said earlier, you've got to be able to pick out your braking markers in dark, which is not the easiest thing to do, because once it gets pitch dark, you start not being able to see the braking markers. So, 5.6 the gap up front. Kind of stabilising there as McManus will have to make his way through the same traffic that Niall Quinn did. Maher and O'Neill very close together, so we will keep our eyes peeled on this battle. As potentially Moore and Hayden might get themselves together very shortly indeed. The great thing about watching this battle is I get two views. I get the broadcast view and I get to see Niall actually doing it over there. He Tries to get up on the back of the BMW here. Holds the inside line. This time looks like the Ferrari's got the speed on the way out. Turn 12 as they run towards turn 1. Maher on the outside line versus Neil. Again, the BMW grunt might kick in very shortly as they run towards turn 1. The inside line, but Maher's still on the outside line. It's going to be very tricky to make this work around the outside. He'll have a go anyway. O'Neill holds the inside, Maher on the outside line. Just see Brian McManus behind as well in the BMW. He'll have to make his way through this battle. Maher having a look on the inside towards the International Horseshoe. He's on the outside line now. Oh, looks like a bit of contact made there. And looks like he's off the road. An unfortunate incident between the two of them there. Looks like a little bit of a lock-up potentially from the Ferrari there. But they have made their way out. Haven't lost too much time. But that let Brian McManus through very easily actually as they went off the road for him. Now Maher having a little look up the inside now. And through he goes very easily. And as I say, all Brian McManus has spun. Just on the exit of that corner there, you just see him trying to get himself back on the road there. So that's unfortunate for him. So Niall Quinn has got a huge advantage now, but that also might bring in Graben into this Porsche in P3. So he's not far behind. You can see him there in the white Porsche. You see Patrick Vassar is also there. Let's also go back to the battle for P9, which is Moore and Haderman again. So Moore got ahead of Haderman earlier, and now Haderman has closed right up to the back of his rival here. Towards the International Horseshoe once again. So 0.6 of a second between those guys. Walsh is in the middle of nowhere, 27 seconds to the nearest car ahead of him. They are working together, these two Ferraris, and close. McManus and Graben getting close up front. That spin from McManus. Here, this is the battle we want to see. These two Ferraris going toe to toe. We've got 41 seconds to the nearest car. Through they go onto the speedway once again. Magnetised together. No top speed advantages between these two. They are together. 0.7 of a second separating them. But I think Haderman's a little bit too far back to make anything work here. He needs to be right up behind them. Graben and McManus gap is to 1.2 seconds. So we'll have to keep an eye on that battle too. That might be an interesting one. And that could end up with Stepativas getting involved too, because he's only about 2.3 behind. We will go back to that battle actually, because Graben has managed to dip under the 1 second barrier there. There he is in the white Porsche. You can just see the other Porsche Stepativas behind. And Niall Quinn is 17 seconds clear out front, so he's going to be no bother to him. But this battle between Moore and Haderman rages on. Haderman on the outside, Moore on the inside. Moore should hold on to that one. Haderman will have a go on the outside. Again, very tricky to make it work. So towards the International Horseshoe once again. Almost together here. He'll have a think about going on the inside. He's having a think about going up the inside. Shows himself in the mirrors. And he's almost having a look on the outside. But to no avail. He needs to keep himself close through this section to have any chance down the speedway section. You need to be right up behind, especially when you're in the same car. You're the same powertrain. 490 horsepower in the back of him. 4-litre twin-turbo V8. So a lot of power behind them. So as you can see, Haderman not able. He's actually dropped time through that sector. So he's made a mistake somewhere. Dropped away. 1 second between them. That should close back up very shortly. And as you can see, it does. He's getting a distant tow. The tow does work from about a second back, but you need to keep it in the corners is the key. You can see how much Haderman closed up there. Wow, Moore had a terrible entry into the bus stop, and now Haderman's all over him here. And you can see Walsh is up ahead as well. He might end up getting caught by this battle. So here we go. Haderman will go to the outside line once again. He'll get the side draft if he gets himself close enough. Outside line is a longer way around, but they are side by side as they come forward turn 1 then. Walsh is into the pits. Haderman's on the outside. He is ahead of Moore as they run. Moore will have the inside line in the other Ferrari. Haderman slightly ahead now as they run towards turn 1. Going to be brave on the brakes from Haderman to go around the outside of turn 1. He's going to have a go nonetheless. Moore should hold on to that one with the tighter line on the inside. So this is the battle now for P8. 34 seconds behind Yamamoto. But the top guys of McManus, Grab and Sabakivas getting close to one another now. So Quinn, actually, this is the last lap of the race. Niall Quinn has race after a dominant display out front. Mistake from Dempsey put him in that position. So we'll look out for Brian McManus in P2. So here they come toward the line. McManus fit P2, Grab in P3, Sabakivas P4. Dempsey, unfortunately, he could be ruining that mistake on the pit entry. Dempsey 5. Dowling will cross the line in P6. Seems to be happy with that. That battle with Moore and Haderman might go to the line here. We'll keep an eye on them. Yamamoto line in P8 it should be. Yeah, coming across line in P8. But Moore and Haderman still together here. So not technically done here. They could run through the bus stop for the last time. They're almost together. They're still together. Haderman this could be close to the line for P8. Running towards the line. Is Haderman close enough? Moore is trying to hold him behind. Haderman's going to move to outside line. This is going to be very line. Haderman and Moore virtually to the line here. Moore's on the inside. Haderman's going to be slightly ahead. They are literally neck and neck. They're out on speed. They're virtually neck and neck. Moore gets it by 300ths of a second. Great battle between those guys. Well done to them. And it's going to be, I think, P10. Walsh is going to be coming across the line in P10, 30 seconds behind. But a decent race. Niall Quinn coming out on top ahead of Brian McManus, grabbing him in P3 and back up P4. We just have to wait for that last portion to cross the line. So a very intriguing round of the VRA GTE series here at Daytona. So Walsh will be the last car to cross the line, coasting to the line. And that is it. All said and done. That is all the cars that are left to finish. Well done to all the guys who have finished. Very well indeed. Niall Quinn, dominant display out front. Wasn't able to get past Dempsey in the early part of the race, but has managed in the pit stops to get ahead after Dempsey made a mistake on the pit entry, just locked it all up. He just could not fill that gap again. Lost a lot of time, dropped behind. But that is it. Niall Quinn is the winner. Brian McManus in second place. Grabness, Tavakivas, Dempsey, Dowling, Yamamoto, Moore, Haderman and Walsh is your top 10. A lot of retirements today, but nonetheless, very good race. So I hope you all enjoyed that one, and I hope I did well with the cameras, getting used to IRacing. But I quite enjoyed that. Nice and close. And hopefully we'll have that again another time. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you again next time. Next Monday. Thank you for watching, and good night.